Want to trade with Rithika? Join Chase at www.laductrading.com/chase.
Hope you had a great week. So last week we kind of retested this level and we held above. If you go to the 4-hour chart, we'll be able to see that we are just digesting sideways over this weekly resistance level. So now this can be interpreted in one of two ways. This is either, you can see that this is almost an inside week, right? So this is one of two things because this definitely looks like a shooting star. You can see here. So that's the reason I think this week is super important. If we can get above the 625 level, then I think we can push into 635 and higher. And then I think we will have a little bit of digestion before we have another extensive leg to the upside. Otherwise, if we cannot hold above and we break below the 617, 615 level, then I think the market could go through a bit of digestion before we push higher. So in both scenarios, I'm not bearish. I think a short-term weakness is just digestion that is going to get bought higher. So that's the reason I'm still looking to see what we do at this weekly level. We could break out before we have any digestion. That's the reason I have these pivot levels. And on the chart of QQQ, as we've discussed in the past, we still haven't even gotten back into the channel bigger picture. So we do have a lot more room to the upside. And you can see we did have a weekly breakout and we had an inside week on QQQ. So again, if we break over 557, we will continue to push higher. You break, I would say, below 548, 547, then again, you would digest into 525. So those are your, again, pivot levels on QQQ. You look at IWM, again, we pushed, we broke out, we pushed into this resistance, and now this was kind of our channel. We do need to get over this 227 if you want to see short squeezes in stocks. Otherwise, we could come back to digest into 200. Let's look at some of the indicators like Wix. Wix just had a little bounce off support, so it's still weak. Bigger picture, we are still expecting $12. You look at the dollar, we did have a little bit of bounce off this level, and again, we are right below the channel. So if we do break above, the dollar will have a short squeeze since we've kind of been in a downtrend the whole year. So keep an eye on that. That could put a little pressure on equities. You look at the 10-year, we've again still been maintaining this level, so I don't really see much change. So let's look at this week's watch list. I liked Amazon because we're holding the support. We retested it. So if we can get over 225, 226, I think we could have a nice push into 235, 240 on Amazon. However, if we break 217, then again, we could again come back to the bottom of this channel at 205. So you could keep an eye on that. This could be due for a move. The next one I have that I liked was FUTU because we have been sideways from October of last year, and you can see that we had that breakout higher in FUTU. So let's keep an eye on FUTU. This could be a breakout continuation. You can see here we have a gap to fill till 160. So this still has some more room to the upside. So you could take advantage of that move in FUTU. The next stock that I have on this week's watch list, Goldman Sachs. I'm thinking banks look a little bit weak, but again, I'm not saying they are going to sell off. I just think that they look a bit weaker than the rest of the market. So if we do break below this 697 level, then we will come down lower to push into 617 before we can go higher. But if we recover 725, we're probably going to head into like 750 before we come lower. So those are your levels on Goldman Sachs. And last but not the least, Tesla again bounced off the bottom of this channel. I'm still expecting Tesla to push into the top of this channel at 430. But again, if we break 274, I'm wrong. So I'm still really liking Tesla higher. You can see we are in a breakout, but again, the market would need to be in gamma squeeze for Tesla to have this move. So let's see. July and August generally are bullish months, but there's a reason we have pivot levels so we can act accordingly. So that's all I have for this week. I hope you have a great day.
Join Chase to trade with Rithika and other experts. Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more Wolf's weekly wave list videos and other content.